WMDT 47 News, live at noon.
Good afternoon, Delmarva, and thank you for joining us. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I'm Alyana Gomez. The news at noon starts right now. In your court news, a Delaware killer facing death is hoping to get his execution commuted to life in prison. 49-year-old Robert Gaddis was sentenced to death for the 1990 murder of his ex-girlfriend Shirley Slay. Lawyers for Gaddis argue that the courts have never properly considered the physical and sexual abuse he suffered as a child as factors weighing against the death penalty. On Monday, the board will vote at the hearing. A Utah doctor is facing murder charges after a botched late-term abortion in Maryland. Dr. Nicola Irene Riley is set for a bail hearing today. She's being charged with 2 counts of murder among many other charges. Authorities say an 18-year-old pregnant woman was suffering from a ruptured uterus and an injured bowel, and rather than calling 911, Riley drove the woman to the hospital. Now to an update on baby Ava. We're told she's making great strides in her recovery. The Del Rico family says the 19-month-old was breathing on her own without a respiratory for the first time since December 16th. They posted this photo on Facebook. Saturday night, the community united to pray for her. And there was a candlelight vigil at 142nd Street in Ocean City, where weeks ago, a driver reportedly under the influence of drugs slammed into the Del Rico's car. More details are being revealed about what sparked that fire in DELMAR yesterday. Delaware State Fire Marshals have ruled the fire accidental. The blaze broke out on Whitesville Road around 2:15. Officials say one of the homeowners may have been burning trash in a burn barrel when embers got out and ignited, spreading to area buildings on the property. Officials say there was about $35,000 in damages. There's a lot of talk about a teen curfew being enforced here in Salisbury. Many residents are now requesting that something more be done after several teenagers were arrested in the last few weeks. WMDT's Marquis Lupton has more.
Should authorities have the power to tell you when your child is allowed outside? In many cities across the country, minors are already living with mandatory curfews. New Orleans just passed a curfew last week, so it begs the question, does Salisbury need one?
It'll take a lot of the riffraff off the streets at night.
Kids need to be home, off the streets.
But not everyone agrees.
I don't think the city of Salisbury should have a curfew. I think parents should be responsible and give their children curfews.
I think that if people are going to break into places and steal things and stuff like that, they're going to do it regardless of if there's a curfew.
Some cities claim curfews keep their towns safer because it keeps kids off the street who, left to their own devices, may be more likely to commit crimes at night. But is that really the case?
Crime's going to happen whether or not there's a curfew. People do what they do for a reason.
Most of them that's doing the wrong is the younger ones. They be breaking into cars, houses. We don't need that right now. Salisbury's going to be a little Baltimore soon.
Many parents believe that the decision of curfew should be left up to them, while others believe that, well, when the lights go out, children and teens should be in. Marquis Lupton, WMDT 47 News.
Many curfews are for children and teens under the age of 17, with most beginning at 11 p.m. and ending at 6 the next morning. At this point, there have been no talks of imposing a curfew for minors in Wicomico County. Many voiced their concerns on our Facebook page. Dee says it won't help. The ones committing crimes won't care that there's a curfew. Junior says curfew is a Band-Aid on a bleeding ulcer. Safe streets start with accountability of parents, community leaders, and politicians. Andy told us that certain sections of Philadelphia that were having a serious problem imposed curfews last summer and says it worked well.
WMDT 47 News first forecast.
Good Monday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Mark Adamo. After a beautiful weekend with that blue sky, almost spring-like conditions back on Saturday, we're back to a cool day today. But we have some rain to talk about. Let's jump to that satellite and radar. Now, not a whole lot out there, but we'll see some showers as we get into this afternoon and the evening, and then after midnight into our day tomorrow, it clears out. In fact, tomorrow will be a beautiful sunny day. But if you're heading out anywhere this afternoon, I would keep some rain gear ready. Have an umbrella or maybe a jacket as well. And actually, between around 7 p.m. and midnight, northern Delmarva could get a little bit of that rain and snow mix. I'll talk more about that later on. But in the meantime, Salisbury, we're sitting at around 43 degrees with a light breeze. Those clouds are thickening up, so it's going to be a cloudy afternoon. As I mentioned, the chance of showers really increases a little bit later on today. Temperatures overnight tonight will fall back down into the 30s, and then we'll have that clear sky again tomorrow. In fact, it'll be a beautiful sunny day with highs in the 50s, but I'll break it all down in the full forecast. Now back to Alyana.
All right, Mark, thanks so much. It's make or break time in New Hampshire. The Republican presidential candidates are making their final pitches to voters just a day ahead of the first in the nation primary and the second contest in the presidential race. Tommy Andres reports.
After all the rallies,
What a welcome.
and all the debates, Mitt Romney looks like the man to beat in tomorrow's New Hampshire primary. Polls show him far ahead of the competition. That made him a target in the second of two debates over the weekend.
Mitt, I realize the red light doesn't mean anything to you because you're the front runner. But can we drop a little bit of the pious baloney?
Romney had a narrow victory against Rick Santorum in the Iowa caucuses. His rivals are now looking to bring him down in New Hampshire to boost their own chances. That's especially important for John Huntsman, who spent almost all of his time campaigning in New Hampshire, hoping that state will push him forward.
I put my country first. Governor Romney puts politics first.
Two other candidates are already making a big push in the state that holds the third contest, South Carolina. Santorum and Texas Governor Rick Perry are both hoping to do well with South Carolina's more conservative base.
Before the two weekend debates, two polls showed a slight increase in John Huntsman's poll numbers, but it will be a hard climb to the top considering most recent polls show Romney with a double-digit lead over his rivals. And to hear the latest in politics, just log on to WMDT.com. Now that the new year has started, it's time to start thinking about tax season. And this year, when you file, you may find fewer breaks available to you. That's because lawmakers have allowed more than 50 business and individual tax breaks to expire while they were on vacation. Among the breaks that have disappeared are the mortgage insurance deduction, the higher education tuition deduction, and the school teacher tax deduction. However, lawmakers still have time to extend these breaks. Speaking of tax season, starting February 2nd, AARP will be offering several free filing programs in Worcester County. You must make an appointment and you'll find a list of locations and more information on our website. Shore Up wants to help as well. They're offering to file state and federal returns for free for anyone making less than $50,000 a year in Wycomico and Somerset counties. To learn more or to make an appointment, you can call 410-749-1142. Here's a look at some of the stories making national headlines today. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of the tragedy at Tucson that shattered so many lives. When the shooting rampage ended, 6 people were dead, including a federal judge and a 9-year-old girl. Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords returned to Arizona to take part in the weekend observances, and ABC's Larry Jacobs has more.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Congresswoman Gabby Giffords led the evening ceremony at the University of Arizona. She lit the first of 19 candles, one for each person killed or wounded that fateful day 1 year ago, then watched as a sea of glow sticks were lit. Her husband and former astronaut Mark Kelly stressed the recovery.
We have all seen the healing that is possible. We've even seen it here tonight as my incredible wife Gabby led us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sunday night's vigil was the culmination of a weekend of observances. At 10:11 a.m. Sunday morning, bells rang out to mark the precise moment the shooting spree began. In just 16 seconds in that Safeway parking lot, the lone gunman killed 6 people, wounded 13 others, including Giffords, shot critically in the head.
Hundreds attended interfaith services across Tucson to remember last year's events over the weekend. The bodies of 4 Indiana National Guardsmen who were killed in Afghanistan were laid to rest. They were expected to arrive late Sunday at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The 4 members of the Valparaiso-based 713th Engineer Company died Thursday when their vehicle struck a roadside bomb. The remains are expected to return to Indiana and Illinois within 2 weeks. The body of a missing woman has been discovered in Oklahoma City. Just 3 miles away from her van was found abandoned in a McDonald's parking lot nearly a month ago. Jamie Adams' husband told police she was meeting a friend at the restaurant chain that night, but later admitted that was a lie. He says his wife was prostituting on Craigslist and was going to meet 2 or 3 men for sex that night. The New Year's murder mystery has been solved in the UK. The body found on the public grounds at the Queen's estate has been identified. The answer is what police feared. The body is that of a 17-year-old Latvian girl who went missing last summer. The royal family is not being questioned in the murder, but staff have been interviewed by police. Coming up in 6 minutes on WMDT 47 News, you may want to check your medicine cabinet. We have a major recall to tell you about this afternoon. And it's a growing trend for the ladies, but hear how men are now getting sucked into getting those magical injections. Plus, in 90 seconds, meteorologist Mark Adama will be back with your complete forecast. You're watching WMDT 47 News.
Find these stories and more at WMDT.com.